Okay, good afternoon, Year 10. Now, I'm sorry to be missing you, but I've got a special job for you this afternoon. Now, the person you can see on the board is Lord Alan Sugar. Some of you will know him from The Apprentice. Now, what he's famous for is being an entrepreneur and making a lot of money from business. So you're all going to be business people this afternoon, entrepreneurs. Now, you're going to be thinking about the ideas behind profit and loss. Now, one of the most profitable products around is cinema popcorn. Okay, cinemas make a lot of money from popcorn because it's so cheap to make and they charge extortionate prices for it. What I want you this afternoon to do is to find a product, work out how much it costs to make it, and figure out how much money you can make from it. Now, by the end of this lesson, I want from you either something on a piece of paper, okay, but there'll be lots of paper available for you, or you can do a PowerPoint slide, okay, and we'll collect those in, explaining your product and how much profit you can make for it. Now, what I suggest you do, okay, this is one idea, but if you want to do something different, you can, is I want you maybe to compare two things and identify which product would be most profitable. So the example I'm thinking of, you can do the same thing, but again, if you want to do something different, you can, is cake. So when you go to a bakery or something, or Marks and Spencer's cafe or anything like that, you can buy cake in two ways. You can either buy cake in slices. So for example, here's a very nice looking sponge cake. Okay, and Marks and Spencer's might sell slices of this for maybe £3. Okay, and you'd have to think about as well how many pieces each cake could be cut into, because you wouldn't want to pay £3 and have something really tiny, but similarly you wouldn't want something that you couldn't eat. Or the other way you can buy cake is in singular items like muffins or flapjacks or things like that, things where you would just buy something small. To work out how much money you could make from this, you obviously need to think about all of the ingredients that are needed and how much those ingredients will cost. So you would need to find a recipe online, list the ingredients, then think about finding out how much those are. You could use an online supermarket website like Sainsbury's or Asda's or something like that to cost up your ingredients. And then you can figure out how much it's going to cost to make your cake. And then you need to think about how much you could sell your cake for in order to work out profit. Now, I want you to write something a little bit like a business plan. So the information that you're going to need to include would be, you're going to need to list the materials. So things like, if you are doing cake, you're going to need eggs, you're going to need flour. But again, take these from the website that you need. The costs, okay, go onto the supermarket website, find out how much these things cost, list those and total them. Now, obviously, some of you are going to say, well, if you're buying flour and you only need 225 grams and it's a kilo bag, do I work out how much the 225 grams are? If we had loads of time, then yes, you would. Okay, but I don't think you're going to have time to do that. Just put down the cost of the entire bag of flour. If your product, be it cakes or whatever it is you're doing, requires any sort of cost of production, then you would need to include that to be able to calculate your profit. However, for the purposes of this task, if you're doing something like food-based, we're just going to assume that you already have all of the ovens, power, cake tins that you need, and there's no cost associated with those. You need to think about how many you're going to sell, how many portions can you get out of each cake or what have you, and I want you to do a projected profit. Now, I would, for the purposes of this task, think about What would you make if you sold 100 units of your product? Okay, 100 units of your product. Now I'm going to leave this fairly open as to how you do this task. Okay, but the more thought and effort you put into it, the more impressed I'm going to be, basically. What you could do is you could say, well, what's more profitable, selling cake in slices or making muffins and selling those? And you could compare two products. I want to see, when I look at these, which of you is the best entrepreneur, i.e., who's managed to make the biggest profit, who's kept their cost low and their sales price high, but not so ridiculously high no one's going to buy the product. You can do this in pairs, Year 10, and you can use the laptops to help you. Please respect the laptops and look after them, and make sure at the end of the lesson they're all switched off properly and put back in the laptop trolleys. Okay, good luck.